Lewis County 911. Oh God, someone just shot my kid. They are shooting at me. What is happening? Someone shot my husband. Wait, did you say your husband was shot? Yes, my son. Send an ambulance. Okay. Is the shooter still there? I have no idea. He took off. Is there anyone else in the house with you right now? My son is here. Oh God, my boy. How old is he? He is 16 years old. Oh my God, I need to. Where are you located inside the home? I am in the basement. Is your boy down there with you as well? Yes, my son is right here in the basement too. Disaster struck on August 31st, 2010, when an intruder killed James Nibby Lee in his sleep. His wife, Jennifer, saw the entire attack. Jennifer survived to recount the horrific story of her husband's final moments. I could not find a heartbeat at all. However, the pieces of the puzzle didn't fit. Even her son, Brady, shared a different version of events. Jenny, could you walk me through exactly what went down here? Well, I was sleeping downstairs, and my mom came in at about 6 o'clock or maybe a bit earlier, and I slept right through the gunshot. I actually keep a firearm down there. I have a .22 caliber for hunting. So I grabbed the rifle and loaded it since I had no clue where he was hiding. I started heading upstairs, but she ordered me to stay down there. I went up anyway and just sat myself down near the front entrance. Then she was sobbing uncontrollably and everything, and we just sat there waiting for the cops to arrive. Doubts continued to mount until Jennifer confessed something completely shocking. I grabbed a bite, loaded a single shell, went back to the bedroom, and squeezed the trigger. On August 31st, 2010, the Nibby family's world turned upside down. An assailant forced his way into their residence in Crystal Lake, Minnesota. The entire neighborhood reeled when a trespasser barged into the main bedroom and blasted James in the head using a shotgun. That morning, Jennifer was preparing for her shift when she heard a deafening noise. She stepped out to discover a truly gruesome sight right before her eyes. James was lying there, soaking in a massive puddle of blood. As soon as the killer spotted her, he launched a brutal assault on her as well. He hauled her into the living area, stabbed her repeatedly with a dinner fork, and bound her using random items he scavenged from around the house. Jennifer survived only because the family dog's wild barking spooked the attacker. The killer's final words were, "I would have finished you off if not for that dog." Yet the details of this supposed break-in just didn't make sense. Not a single item was taken from the property. James was dead and Jennifer beaten. If not a robbery, was it a targeted hit? Fortunately for the investigators, there was someone else home at the time. Brady Brown, who was Jennifer's boy and James's stepson. Police hauled him in for interrogation to get a description or see if he was involved. Following the interview, Brady was no longer considered a suspect, no longer considered a person of interest. Fresh evidence emerged that completely flipped the script on the investigation. During her police interview, Jennifer identified Paul Halberger, her former partner and James's old buddy, claiming he was the assailant. She insisted that the intruder's build and tone of voice were unmistakably his. Paul and Jennifer had dated way back, but she ended things once she crossed paths with James. 12 months down the road, she and James tied the knot. Investigators began to sniff out a potential reason for the crime. I recall during our call, you hinted that you had caught wind of the events that took place. Can you tell me exactly what details you have picked up? From what I gathered, it started as a break-in and escalated into a homicide. All right. Where did you get that info? I saw it on the broadcast. Got it. Now, when exactly were you and Jim an item? I believe it was about 12 months prior to their wedding. Prior to her getting hitched to Jim, correct. What was the duration of that romance? 2 or 3 years. Was the breakup amicable? It was pretty messy. No. All right. How did you first meet Jim? We were just buddies, really. Jim was a solid dude, and we never had any issues. The drama was strictly between Jen and myself, honestly. Think back to Tuesday morning. Can you recall your location? I can't say for sure. I'm pretty certain I was clocked in at my job. Jen actually brought your name up during her interview, saying, hey, you definitely need to to speak with my former partner because he is someone worth investigating. My goal right now is to see if we can solidly confirm your whereabouts for that morning. It just simplifies things for everyone involved. You get what I'm saying, don't you? Yeah. Once they finished grilling Paul, his story checked out completely, revealing a much darker reality. A critical piece of evidence was discovered on Jennifer's mobile device. For 2 weeks, police hunted a ghost, unaware that Jennifer was concealing the actual facts. Investigators brought her back in for questioning and uncovered a truly warped tale regarding the death. Jennifer begins the conversation by painting herself as the one suffering. She cites her substance dependency and money troubles as a way to rationalize the shocking details she is preparing to divulge. I'm at a loss for words. I just wanted all of this to disappear. I get it. I realize it won't just vanish, but I believe the issue we are discussing leaves us in the dark regarding the specific events that took place. As I mentioned, we are aware of the narcotics situation, okay? If you were completely high and not thinking straight, then that is just the reality of it. However, we really need you to verbalize that to us so we understand. The truth is, I am hooked on prescription painkillers. All right. At what point did that habit begin? I feel so mortified. Don't worry about it. I phone in fraudulent orders for my own use. I am just humiliated. It happens. Folks go through tough times and end up slipping up. You are definitely not the first individual to get hooked on pain meds. Did a specific incident trigger that behavior, set it in motion? Were you hurt physically, or was it something else entirely? I hurt my ankle a while back, and honestly, the pain just spiraled out of control during our first year as a couple. At the start, it was manageable. Right before we tied the knot, that's when the dependency kicked in, and I needed those pills just to function every single day. If I didn't take them, the sickness would hit me hard. So, was this your little secret, or was everyone else in the loop about it? Not a single soul had a clue. Total secrecy. And on top of that, you've been shouldering the entire financial burden for quite some time. You were grinding away at 2, maybe 3 jobs, just drowning in stress. That definitely didn't make staying sober any easier. Hurting people isn't who I am. I pride myself on being truthful and straightforward. I drilled that value into my boy, yet somehow I turned into the exact thing I hate. I morphed into this deceiver, constantly inventing reasons for dragging into work late. The pills drove most of it, the constant using, which is ironic considering I worked in the medical field. I knew the resources were there, but I just couldn't bring myself to reach out. Jennifer juggled a pair of jobs to keep a roof over her son and James's heads. She also admitted to fighting a severe dependency on a prescription painkiller known as tramadol. Does a drug habit justify murder? Plenty of addicts struggle without turning violent. While her actions remain inexcusable, these details offer a window into her psychological condition right before the tragedy occurred. I can't look anyone in the eye. How do you confront people after committing something so horrific? Felt like I was physically present, yet my mind was completely elsewhere. It's like an out-of-body experience, watching yourself act but having zero control over it. Did you hear any voices commanding you to do it? Were you seeing things that weren't there? I honestly can't say for sure. You didn't get a wink of sleep last night, right? You looked completely wrecked this morning, like you've been awake for days, popping way too many tablets. Yeah. Do you ever crush them to snort, or are you swallowing them whole? Okay. I typically just swallowed them like regular medicine. No way. I never messed with needles or anything extreme. Well, strictly speaking about the money, I guess that was part of it. Because feeding that habit cost a fortune, and I still had all the regular bills to cover. Yeah. Based on what everyone is telling us, from what we understand, Jim was pretty much unemployed until just a short while ago. For the last 4 years, you were stuck paying the mortgage and bills by working 3 separate jobs. That is an immense amount of weight for one person to carry. I just can't wrap my head around how someone shifts from being normal to doing this in a blink. It doesn't make sense. The household had fallen months behind on the mortgage and utilities, all of which Jennifer was trying to pay solo. Another damning piece of proof, building up against Jennifer involved a life insurance policy James purchased back in June 2010. This specific policy was set to pay out $200,000 if James died. James had actually mentioned this coverage to his supervisor, Darren Deluge. He also let it slip that the whole thing was Jennifer's suggestion. The fact that she rang up the insurer the very day after James died just cemented the theory that cash was her motive. What might have looked like a prudent financial move turned out to be a grim precursor to murder. As if that wasn't jarring enough, that same month she reconnected with an old flame, Greg Nielsen. Bit by bit, her entire narrative was starting to crumble, and a whole list of motives was stacking up against Jennifer. But here is the thing. You mentioned something earlier, Jen, about how cops can lie to you, and sure, legally we can, but I am not going there. I am not going to lie to you. All right? I promise you that. You have my solemn word. I really hope you can look me in the eye right now and trust that I am being straight with you, okay? We do not want to go down that road. We honestly do not need to do that. You said it yourself. You've always considered yourself a truthful person. And look, everyone we spoke with, your friends and your family, they all tell us the exact same thing, okay? You have got solid character, okay? You have absolutely zero criminal history. You worked your tail off to build a life for yourself, and you worked even harder for Brady. And he is a fantastic kid, a really good kid. He is ranked #1 in his entire class. He really is a good boy. Oh, God, he is such a good boy. This whole thing is going to destroy him. Well, no. Listen, Brady can handle this. Brady can get through this. Okay. He is strong enough to survive this. Okay. It is going to be tough. Okay. No one is ever going to forgive me for this. I guess I cannot blame them for that. Actually, sometimes people do forgive. Yeah, I do not know if I would say that is true. I would not say that is necessarily how it will play out. Brady is clearly a raw nerve for Jennifer. Whenever the detectives sense she is drifting, they bring him up to steer her back toward a confession. And it works like a charm because she circles right back to her crimes the moment her son is mentioned. She obviously does not want Brady paying the price for what she did. Are they going to make me act out everything that happened? No, I really don't think so. To enter a guilty plea, you basically just have to give a statement of what went down, so the judge is satisfied that it is credible and he can accept it and all that, because sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, people who are innocent will sometimes actually claim they did something they did not. So the judge has to be sure he believes the story, But as far as physically reenacting the events, no. And I think a lot of what we do is for the courts and for our own jobs, sure. But a huge part of what we do is for the people left behind. Personally, I would, I really empathize with the family here, and I bet they would want to know too. Exactly. Right. I mean, that is probably the biggest question people have right now. They just want to know the how and the why. They just want some answers. They want something that they can finally wrap their heads around and, say, okay, this is the reason it all went down. Something that gives us a bit of a window into the events through our investigation. But again, we were not actually there. There are just so many different things racing through my mind. I do not know. I mean, it is just everything we have been talking about. The pressure of it all, the financial stress, and the drugs. And, you just live your life waiting for that next high. Jim did not know a thing about any of this either. You managed to hide it all from him. For the bulk of it, sure. I would usually blame it on the pills for my migraines or my gut issues. And, you get how family is. Everyone kept saying, Jen just doesn't seem right physically, Folks have mentioned that to us. They can clearly see something is off. They can tell there is a problem, even if they cannot put a finger on exactly what it is. This is the breakthrough the investigators had been hoping for. Now, Jennifer starts to unveil her plot in detail, exactly what unfolded on that tragic night of August 31st. Just like I told you, I did it, but it didn't feel like I was the one doing it. I get it. And what matters more than the fact that it actually took place? There is no rewind button here. It is clear that you are remorseful. You told me that if you could trade places and sacrifice your own life to fix this, you absolutely would. Is that the honest truth? And is that really what you intended to say? Right, because once again, I believe it is crucial for the public to hear those specific words coming directly from your mouth. It shows where your heart is at and proves you aren't just some cold-blooded monster. It was an absolute nightmare. The moment it went down was terrifying. And I just thought, oh my God, how do I fix this? That is why I staged the scene, to make it appear as if an intruder broke in to attack me. All right, I need to double check a few critical details just to be certain. Got it. So Brady was not involved in this situation whatsoever. Absolutely not. I promise. I swear to God. No. I swear to the Almighty. He is completely in the dark. He did not assist you in staging the crime scene or anything like that. You honestly did not rouse him from his sleep until everything was already over. I crossed my heart. I promise. I swear on my own life. I really do. Look, I hear you. I trust you if you say it is the truth, but I am required to ask. I just need to be 100% clear on that point. I understand. Brady had absolutely zero involvement in any of this. He was completely shocked. I was already talking to 911 when I went down to get him. He was out cold, totally dead to the world, and I had to yell his name 2 times before he finally stirred, looking at me with wide eyes, wondering what on earth was happening. Right, so his response seemed completely natural and fitting. For a guy in that position, it all checks out as genuine. Yeah. All right, Brady was totally clueless about the whole thing. Okay, not a thing. Was anyone else aware of the plan? No way. Terry? Not a soul? No one. Got it. No one else. All right, I take your word for it. How long was this running through your mind that night? I recall you saying you were awake the entire night. I did manage to drift off at one point. Okay, we went to bed, but I think by the time I actually knocked out, it was probably around 12:30, and then I woke up at 4:30, when my alarm went off. Okay, I turned the alarm off and ended up drifting back to sleep. Right. And then around 5:30, that is when I suddenly started freaking out. Probably because of the pills I took and the exhaustion. God, it just makes me physically ill to even dwell on it. I really don't understand what I have done. I bet this has been eating you alive for the past couple days. It has been tearing me apart since the very moment it went down. I believe we were addressing you as well. No, it is quite obvious. It is a heavy load to lug around. I really do not know how I do it. Another thing is, knowing Jim is in heaven and Brady will go there someday keeps me from ending it. Because if I did, I would never see them again, even though the thought crossed my mind. Listen, I want to encourage you not to just suppress those feelings. Because you know what? You made a mistake, but you are still Brady's mom and you will be his mother for the rest of his life. And you need to keep doing that, okay? Jennifer's entire world has completely shattered around her. Her present life and her future are all locked behind bars now. But is that really why she feels guilty? Or does it stem from genuine regret over taking James's life? We really need to review the specifics. Just one time if we can, okay? You go ahead. We will not pressure you. Just take it at your own speed, right? But I know you want the real story out there. Exactly. The truth. Okay. From the very beginning to the end. Just once. I am not sure where to begin. I suppose let us start with Monday night. Monday night. All right. Let us begin there. You were hanging out with Carrie, correct? She was not doing well, feeling sick. Is that accurate? Yeah, okay. That is what I figured. Yes, that was completely true. And there is one thing I want to clarify. She allegedly claimed I did not go on an ambulance run. But I definitely took a call that night. Regarding the ambulance run on Saturday, that same Saturday night when she was also feeling under the weather precisely, I went on that call. And she was like, oh, I mentioned it. And I told her, I specifically said I went on that ambulance run. So she is definitely mistaken. Right. Yes. Her memory is not always sharp on things, but I will clear it up so we can settle this. And honestly, we can just check the logs. Absolutely. And they will prove you were there, right? Exactly. My name will be on the report. Okay, then. Let us kick off with Monday night when you were with Carrie. So that Monday evening, I was with Carrie. We chatted about, let me see, what was it? She was not feeling good. We discussed all the drama at work, since they tried forcing her to come in and it failed. And the supervisors were furious because they made her show up Sunday, even though she had a doctor's note excusing her presence. So then we drove out to MPA because of that whole incident with people flashing lights in the yard. We went out there to check and ensure everything was safe. That part is all factual. None of that was fabricated, including Yukon losing it the other night. That really happened. Yep, that was accurate too. Okay. So we inspected the area and tried telling P again not to wander off alone. Then as I was leaving Carrie's, Jim called, and I think I missed his call. Returned his call, and he said he was just arriving home from work. And so I headed back to the house. God, this is just awful. I know it really is a nightmare, you guys. We know. And yes, I had to. Jim, there was a pistol Jim purchased for me. That is also the truth. Very much so. Right. Jim was the one who bought the gun for me. He really wanted me to learn how to shoot targets. So when you got back Monday night, was he there or did you get back first? He was already there, and then I pulled in. He was outside messing around. So I asked, do you want a hand? I asked, do you want me to practice shooting? Since you've been nagging me to practice, he got me that pistol. So we shot targets, or we did our target practice, or whatever you call it. We went inside, grabbed a bite to eat, and I fired the gun. Yeah, pretty sure we did the shooting first. Then went in, and then went inside to eat. Okay, and then me and Brady had our little meatball food fight. And so I went back upstairs and polished off the rest of the meatballs and mashed potatoes. And Jim was busy heating up some other leftovers and scraps for himself. Then I cleared the dishes and put them away, and I brushed my teeth. Then Jim and I went to sit on the sofa and watch TV. And he had propped the gun up in the corner. Where exactly? In which room? In the, but right next to the sliding glass door. Okay. He set it in the corner, and I knew the ammo was right there too. Okay. Since that is where we had placed it, and he had already taught you how to load the weapon, how to and can, yeah. Because we went deer hunting the previous year. I mean, he was trying to teach me the ropes with whatever type of gun he wanted me to handle. So then we watched the news until 10:30 and turned in for the night. He was constantly pestering me for sex, and that really started to bug me. It created some friction between the two of you. Yeah. He wanted it on a pretty regular basis, and I tried my best, but sometimes I just struggled with that. And when you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, it just stops being fun for the other person, right? So just all this tension. So there was definitely resentment building up, because it was constant, just constantly. You want to do it, let's go. And the romance was completely dead when it came to that stuff. It was like, fine, just finish up and get it over with, so I can sleep, I guess. To the outside world, Jennifer and James looked like the perfect married couple. But if that were actually true, she wouldn't be sitting here in an interrogation room. Detectives discovered a major clue at the crime scene: Jennifer's private diary. The journal contained daily entries where she gushed about Greg and how happy he made her. Text messages sent back and forth between them were also discovered. Their chat logs were filled with intimate messages between the two. And even though she allegedly hadn't met Greg yet, the chats suggest she planned to get intimate soon. They arranged to meet just 2 days after James died. Jennifer was ready to move on instantly. Another motive had surfaced, and there were more secrets yet to come. So I just lay there and waited. I'd popped a few pills before I even got into bed. Do you remember how many? Probably like 6 or 8, which sometimes when I do that, I have a hard time sleeping to begin with, because that is how it messes with me sometimes. It just kind of makes you agitated. It does. It kind of keeps you up, makes you dream and stuff like that. And so I woke up when the alarm went off at 4:30, and I had shut it off, and I think I had a couple more pills lying on the nightstand that I had taken. Trying to remember if I have water there, or if I just took them dry. I don't even know. And I'd fallen back asleep though, and I woke up at 5:30 in a panic. And that is when I went out. I got the code, loaded one shell, and I came back into the bedroom. And there was a throw blanket on the end of the bed, so I took that and kind of rested the gun on his shoulder, and he just keeps saying, I pull the trigger. Come on. Oh my God, I get so sick. This is not me. I am not this person. I put the gun down. I headed in. I went to go find his phone, and I couldn't find it. So I had to run out to the craft room to get mine. Kiss, check on your feel for a pulse. Where did you check, on his neck or his wrists? Or I think I checked on his wrist and his neck. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I can't. But at that point, we know he was gone. With everything Jennifer has said, everyone is left in an utter state of confusion, especially since the 911 call sounded so compelling. But after a long wait, detectives have a true picture of what happened that night. I just have to clarify a couple things, okay? Yeah, you said that there was a throw rug, is what you described it as. Throw blanket. And you put that up there on his shoulder and rested the gun on it. Was that for any other reason other than to stabilize the gun? Were you trying to make it quieter so that Brady wouldn't wake up or anything like that? And was it like around the barrel at all, or was that your thinking at that time to not wake up Freddie or not? No, maybe not. I think because I was shaking so bad it was rattling. Okay. Just like you were. Yeah. Trembling. Yeah. Okay. It was the same gun that he had taught you to shoot. Yes. And what kind of gun is that? I mean, this is a 12 gauge or 20 gauge. It's a shotgun. It's a shotgun with a scope. Okay. And it's the action. Do you know what kind of action is? How you have to load a bullet in it? Like a semi-automatic. Is that what you mean? Do you need to rack the slide? It requires pumping action. All right. Is that necessary to function properly? Since there is a second firearm upstairs that Brady retrieved. Yeah, I just need to confirm we're sorting this correctly and the lab techs handle it. So you utilize the exact rounds you claimed matched the others. Right. And what type was it? Was it birdshot or a solid slug? A slug. Got it. Do you actually understand the distinction? No, I don't. Honestly speaking, I really don't have a clue. Well, that is definitely what you were firing outdoors earlier. I figure they were slugs, which is standard for hunting deer, sweetie. Those are the specific rounds he had you practicing with. That sounds right to me. Yeah. Okay. I know Mike mentioned we wouldn't pressure you, but can I ask something I've been pondering? Because we spoke earlier that morning and everything, and then when I walked inside, you were just sitting right there on the sofa with Brady, and things just sort of... There were items scattered around the room, and a chair looked like it had been shifted. Uh-huh. When exactly were those objects placed or moved? Because we figured you did it. That you sort of staged that whole scene yourself. That happened. I really cannot recall if it was before or after everything. All right. Do you recall what specifically was placed out there and shifted around, though? I know. I handled the chair. I messed up the chair covers. Yeah. The rocking chair and the stand beside it. Got it. And what about the rope and the knife? Where did you get the rope? It was sitting on the counter. Okay. And the blade was from the kitchen. Yeah. And then the scythe, that large weed whacking tool. Uh-huh. Where did that fit in, or how does it relate to this situation? Did you think that would support your intruder story? It was in the garage. You mean inside the attached garage? Yeah. Okay. So you carried it inside and placed it on the floor? Yes. That must have happened before you dialed 911, though. Yes. Right from the beginning, investigators were suspicious of Jennifer. Nothing about the scene suggested a home invasion occurred. The Nibby residence sat right in the center of vast farmland. There was zero proof of a break-in or clues like strange tire marks or prints. Every single item used to facilitate the murder and assault was found inside the house. What kind of burglar arrives with nothing, leaves zero evidence behind, and Assaults the victims using their own personal knives and firearms. The clues were screaming the truth. Watch her explain how she staged the scene, including self-harm. When I spoke with you earlier, do you recall how I questioned you regarding the blood spatter on your clothes? Yeah. The outfit we took from you, was that what you wore during the incident? Yeah, it was. You seem sure there wouldn't be blood spray on it. Why? Or, oh, I really do not know. You were just winging it. No. Right. Because earlier you mentioned there is no way any blood spray got on my clothes. Honestly, I do not recall saying that, or maybe I just blocked it out entirely. You don't? All right then. I was just wondering if you swapped outfits or something, since you sounded so sure of yourself. It just piqued my interest because, generally speaking, in these types of situations, when a firearm's discharged, you inevitably get that high velocity splatter, and it lands on your fabric, which allows our forensics team to examine it and distinguish it from other types of stains. But let's just finish up here. So those lacerations on your legs were self-inflicted? Correct. And the scratches on your throat? Yeah. You did those yourself, right? He didn't help you with any of those injuries? No. I know you cleared him already, but I have to be absolutely certain. That particular scratch on your neck really looked like the tines from a fork. Resembled a fork. I guess I'm asking what tool you used to create those marks. The blade. You used the knife to scratch up your own neck. Got it. And does that apply to the wounds on your arms as well? Yes. Was it the same knife we found out there, or a different one? No, it was that specific one. That same weapon, okay? There was zero chance Jennifer was walking free. Everything from the forensic data to her journal and personal items pointed to her. Her entire narrative was full of contradictions and gaps. She avoided a cell for 10 days, but her luck was about to run out. Is there anything specific you want included in the official file for the district attorney to see? I mean, it's clear you're remorseful, right? Extremely. That part is undeniable, is plain to see. Have you confessed this to anyone else yet, Jen? No. Other than you guys? Right. You haven't phoned your father or spoken to a soul? No. Now, regarding Ed Erickson, you guys never actually hooked up. It was strictly digital, just messaging back and forth. So it was harmless flirting, 100%. It never crossed the line into physical contact? Definitely not. Not a single physical encounter ever. No. All right. Nope. So, just to be clear, he was completely in the dark about this. No. He had no clue. Oh, God, no. He never told you to take out your husband. No, never. Nothing of the sort. He played no part in this whatsoever. No, he didn't. He really didn't. Okay, then. No. Jennifer's obsession with money is what got her locked up in 2012. Throughout the trial, her defense attorney, Rich Hillish, argued that the story behind James Nibby's murder and her motives was complex. The lawyer maintained that his client was actually a victim of abuse. He claimed James's actions drove a woman with a clean record to snap. Ultimately, in June of 2012, District Court, Judge Bradley Walker handed down a sentence of 25 years in prison, accounting for good behavior and credit for the 700 days she has already spent behind bars. She could be eligible for supervised release in 15 years. She is currently slated to be discharged from custody in the year 2027.